This is the last workshop of our series that we're doing with the AYRx Yoga Swings. I'm Jen Healy. This is the aerial yoga play program mixed in with the AYRx Therapeutix. It's AYRx. That's the aerial yoga RX program. And then I'm weaving in the suspended somatics therapy today and the sacred geometrics of the body to create an all-in-one experience. So this is integrating all of my different programs into one so that you get a little bit of a taste and a sample of all the different ways that we can use the swing. So we're going to continue today with our alignment principles. We're going to get into the swing, work with our pillar, our central pathway, working with the spine and opening up the spine. The swings are great for creating traction and creating openness and balancing out any of the contraction as well as the tension that's living in the two major hubs, the neck and shoulders and the lower back. And the whole practice is designed to be a heart opening practice. So I want you to focus today on creating alignment, not only in the physical body, but in the energetic body, so the energy can flow. The spine becomes this super highway for the energy to flow. And we're going to work a lot with the pivot point at the hips and allowing the head and neck to move as one harmonic motion through the body. I work a lot with the infinity loops and the infinity waves. And we're going to work with that today, not only at the pelvis, but the infinity wave at the heart and the infinity wave at the head, and get them all synced up so that we can have the maximum amount of strength and power in our body, learn how to work with the pivot points and to leverage our power, leverage our energy, so we can make some of the more advanced poses easy to do. And Monday is an extra day. In my training, it's usually a 3-day training where we do 6 hours a day. I've been spreading this out over 5 days. Thursday was a free day that we got to experience, and I'm going to do that once a month so everybody gets an opportunity to see and feel how I use the swing. And then we're going to incorporate that into some of the traditional yoga poses that I've translated into the swing. We're doing all basic poses to make this accessible to everyone, every age, every body, every size. And then once you get good at mastering the basics, then we can add on and we build the sequences. So everything's going to be stacking on itself. And by the end of today, I'm going to show you how to do some of the tricks and flips that you can find in the intermediate and advanced training. So we're going to have just a little bit of extra weaved in. And if you can't do everything today, I promise you, keep practicing, get in the swing every single day. And as you get used to leveraging the pivot points and power, it'll be easy to move in some of the more advanced sequences. So let's start out. Let's warm up together. Stand in the center of your mat. I have these beautiful round mandala mats that I make that help define the space and then gives us more of an opportunity to feel what it's like to move in multidimensional space. This will balance the left and right sides of the body as well as the up and down. And from our strong pillar, we start to create the alignment of the crown of the head lifting towards the sky as the tailbone sinks down. So we're pressing down and lifting up simultaneously, creating space and this dynamic tension in our spine. So we're lifting our sternum as well as really engaging and pushing down, creating this internal spiral with the legs and an external spiral with the shoulders, opening up the chest and freeing up the lower back. A lot of the practices in the swing are specifically designed to help heal injuries or even prevent injuries like lower back pain and neck and shoulder pain. So let's go ahead and inhale, find our breath. Exhale, hug the swing. We always move from the swing, hugging underneath the arms in the upright positions, and then we're hugging towards the center line. We're reviewing what we did today in the training. You can find all of this on my website. I'm offering all 5 workshops for just $99. It's a really incredible special for these workshops. And then you can take the entire training and get the swing just for this weekend for an extra $300 off. So I hope you can take advantage of that special. You can find it all on my website. It's jenhealy.org, and if you go there underneath the store, you'll find these items on sale right now. So let's go ahead and push the swing down, get it below the tips of the shoulder blade, come into a gentle forearm press at first, and just kind of feel the body, feel the bounce. Start out nice and slow, and then we always want to create this rhythm wave in the body from side to side. You can support the head with your hands, walk your feet a little bit wider, hip distance, and just start to sway. Drop in and be easy about it at first. We're going to be easy going, nice and slow to begin, and then we're going to build the energy and build up the practice. If you want, you can come right into a sumo squat and drop your hips and come to sit. We're going to allow for the tailbone to point down and the crown of the head to point up, even when we change position, whether we're vertical or if we're coming into the horizontal positions. We're going to keep the entire spine communicating with one another, pressing our forearms into the swing to create a little hook to support our weight. The swing is always going to ride up because gravity is doing a great job, this abundant force we work with. And you can just give it a little hop, bring it down, and come back in as many times as you need in order to be comfortable in the swing. This is called a sumo squat or a chair position. You can walk your feet a little wider, 10 and 2 on the mat if you look at it as like a clock or a steering wheel, and then just let your hips explore in space. See if you can start to feel those infinity loops. We worked a lot with the infinity loops today, and we're loosening up all of the connective tissue that hangs out in the pelvis. And what we want to do is create a little bit more movement and a little bit more space, just so when we get into some of the other more advanced poses, the body is warmed up, the connective tissue is lubricated, and then there's more room and space for the hips to move. So a lot of the movements that we do, the walking, the sitting, even running, bicycling, they're all linear movements. And we want to start to rock from side to side, pulling the hips forward and back. Do some really gentle loop-de-loops, warm up nice and slow, and keep the chest lifted and our gaze slightly up. This entire practice, we want to keep that alignment and keep our energy open, our heart open, and our pelvis sinking down and grounded and relaxed. So let's go ahead and just roll around, have some free flow, some playtime. The play is the most important part. We're going to play our way into optimal health. That is so important for releasing the tension that builds up in the body. Whatever it took to get here, just let yourself land. Thank you so much for joining us. Everything is going to be recorded for unlimited replay, so you get to practice every day. I promise you, if you get in the swing every day and you just move around, you will get strong, you will get flexible, but most importantly, your body will feel more open and more spacious. And we all need to remedy the tension and the stress that is happening in the body by creating more space. And the swing is really good for giving us an opportunity to utilize gravity in a way that opens the body and takes pressure off the joints, letting them heal, letting them repair, and then getting full range of motion. So let's go ahead and try bending the knees in and out and just warming up the hips a little bit more in our sumo squat. Just a few more breaths here. You can see it is sliding up. It's always going to slide up. That's okay. We can lean back, give it a little hop. Make sure the swing is sitting behind the heart, the sternum, and then sway a little bit bigger from side to side, bending one knee at a time. I like to start out repeating the same basic poses that we learn in our beginner training, and then add on to it so we get really good at the basics. And then from there, we can learn how to use these simple poses to practice the intermediate and advanced. If you go nice and slow, then we can have more of a restorative experience. If you want to be more dynamic and feel the free energy and the momentum that we can build by utilizing the swing from side to side, that can also be really fun, and add some twists and spins at the edges. Find your breath, marrying the movement so that our body is getting pumped and filled up. Every inhalation fills us up, and every exhalation grounds us down and rings out and relaxes the body. So really take a moment to just drop in, get present, let all of your being show up here. We've been working with the pillar of light, body of light, and then our being of light. And we're tracing semicircular shape. Instead of just going linear side to side, it is a sphere, it's a circle. And that changes the ergonomics and the alignment of the body. It opens up the ball and socket of the hips and the shoulders, and allows our heart to lead the way. So our head is relaxed, our neck is relaxed. And that way we can open up the front of the spine and relieve some of the excess tension from overusing the back muscles and strengthening the front of the torso. Come on back to center and come to sit. We're going to work with these spheres or bubbles, balls of energy. I call them the golden bubbles, around our belly, around our heart, and around our head. And make sure that we're working with the pivot point so that we're not just leading with our head or straining our neck, but we're letting our pelvis lead the way. So let's go ahead and try sinking the hips back, pushing one knee back and the other knee back, and feel how this is creating a little bit of a loop. See if there's any stickiness or stuckness that is in the pelvis. The pelvis gets pretty congested from sitting so much. Computer and driving and everything that our world and our lives require of us, we need to balance that out and open it up. Let's get and hold on to the swing and come to stand and just have a little bit more of a visual and a discussion of what it looks like to do the infinity waves. And just imagine we're going to translate this to the swing. So when we come into the infinity waves, I'm always doing the infinity waves with the hips, with the heart, and with the head. And so when I slow it down, I can start to feel these three centers working together. And so these are our power centers. And if we're just moving and isolating one part but not letting the other parts work together, then we're going to create an asymmetry in the body, either with the left or right, or the up and down, and we want to keep the energy flowing through the entire spine. So see if you can do the infinity loops while standing. These are some of the holographic body enhancements that I like to incorporate into my movement and my practices. These are all part of my Metavision and my day-long retreats I do, as well as the quantum retreats that I do in Maui, as we work with the energy loops and we balance the body, as well as create the movement through the hips, the heart, and the head evenly. So imagine we're doing this in the swing now, and we're going to incorporate the leg loops and just see when we sway from side to side, that gentle swagger position that actually balances the whole body and works it together. And that way, when we go into some of these poses and you know why we're doing them, it makes sense of how it is moving energy, moving the Kundalini energy up the spine and opening up the energy centers to create balance throughout the whole body. So let's try that again. Inhale, come to stand, and energy up, and then exhale, hug the swing, push the energy back down, and come to sit. We're going to not only learn the pivot points and how to leverage our power so we can do some of the flips and tricks, we're going to learn how to bring the energy down, sink the energy down by lowering the hips, and how we can bring the energy up, bring our energy centers up and activated, and therefore having the energy rise and boost the energy field. So if we need more energy, we can bring the energy up, and if we want to settle the energy and calm the energy, we know how to bring it down. And that way, when we're working from the center point of the heart, then the upper and lower chakras are all working together, and then the body stays in harmony and balance. And this equilibrium is really, really important for our optimal health. We're going to utilize the leg loops now and start to get into our chillaxin pose. We learned this throughout the days, but if you're just popping in for the first time, that's fine. You can just lift the knee, see if you can turn it out to the side and get the leg loop on. And if it feels too far away, you can give it a little helping hand. We're going to get the leg loop behind the knee and hang here. Come into second side, keep the hook. Make sure you're wrapping outside in. And then lift the leg, get that leg up there and into the leg loop and gently rock. So when we're rocking from side to side, you can see it kind of looks like the same infinity wave while we're standing. But it's super easy to just use the momentum of the swing from side to side and the free energy. So once we tap into that harmonic motion, it becomes effortless. When we push our knees to one side, it naturally sways over to the other. This is opening up the connective tissue. It is softening and lubricating all of the joints, and it's starting to create more flexibility all the way down through the energy lines of the legs, opening up the IT band and the glutes. So let's just stay focused on keeping the heart open, the head relaxed back, the tailbone sinking down, and moving nice and slow. Let's go ahead and open up the hips a little bit more by getting the right foot on top of the left and having a little seat here. And as we're sitting, we're just going to let the bottom foot wag very gently, creating a micro movement so that it is easy on the body, easy on the hips. We're going to go over a little bit of everything today, both the upper and lower bodies working together. If you want, you can support your head with your hands. You can add a little bit of a twist at the edge and just pulse there. See what that feels like. Bring more awareness into the body. Where are you feeling it? Where is it tight? Where would you like a little bit more openness? Maybe it is in the glutes. You can also use your hand, your left hand, to reach around, grab for the leg loop and deepen the stretch, pulling in gently. We never want to force. We want to just listen to the body and let it open up nice and slow. Support the head with the hand to deepen the twist and keep the chest lifted while the hips are sinking down. And slowly change sides. Use your momentum. We're going to get the left foot on top. See if the right side and the left side feel the same. Everybody has a dominant side. Everybody has these asymmetries that happen in the body through movement, through habit, through different sports that are one-sided or one arm or leg dominant. So this is how we can start to balance it out. The swing will stretch us evenly, and that gives us a chance to open up both the left and right, the up and down, the all around, and release the lower back. You'll see the swing is lifting up through the upper thoracic, and we're dropping the hips down. Gently swaying. Use your right hand to reach around and grab for the leg loop, pull the knee in to deepen, stretching the glutes and the hip. Support your head with your hand and just lean back and let that feel good. Find your breath. Drop in. The swing will do the work. Let gravity do the work for you. And just slow it down to begin. Whatever it took to get here, thank you for joining us. You'll be able to replay and watch this as many times as you need to really get into the poses in a much more aligned way. Feel that when the body opens, you can go a little bit deeper. You can always pull a little bit more to get that leverage, but don't force. Listen to the edges of the body and just pulse with the breath into the openness that's happening. I always love feeling this tightness that is the external lines, the IT band connected to the glutes starting to open, and then getting more space in the intercostals, the ribs, even into the love handles and the obliques. Just simply by hanging, the body will start to stretch and open. And then we're going to go ahead and relax back, even out the spine by coming into chilaxin and sway a little bit from side to side. You can extend one leg or the other leg and see how that feels. You're also hitting some of these pressure points behind the knees and also massaging out the tension in the upper back while we do this. So go ahead and come on back to center when you're ready. Let's just hop up. We're going to come to stand as many times as we need to take a little break, holding on to the leg loops with our hands, reaching for the top. Give yourself a little lift, bicep curl lift, and come to stand, and then let that slide up. So today I've been talking about the pivot points and the relationship with lifting the body by utilizing our tailbone. And after we get comfortable with working the whole spine together, we'll notice that we don't have to use so much muscle or so much effort. We can actually use the energy. And little story about how this all came to me. I got super sick in 2002, and this one time it was literally a near-death experience where I lost all strength in my body, and I've always been really athletic and really muscular. But after a couple months of being sick, when I went back into exercise and work, I just didn't have the same strength that I used to. And my guidance, my inner voice, that intuition, was telling me, use the energy in your bones instead of using the muscles. And I didn't know what that meant. And it's kind of like what is taught with Tai Chi or the martial arts. It's not our muscles. We don't have to muscle our way or force our way in the world. We can actually start to use the alignment and the energy that exists along our spine, into our nervous system, into our bones. And to do this, we have to stack and we have to find the alignment. So a lot of times when I'm teaching some of these beginner poses, it's to lead us to a different relationship with the body that'll allow some of the tricks and the flips to be easy. So we're going to bring attention to the portal at our tailbone, communicating with the portal at the crown of the head. And imagine these portals being a river of energy that flows through. And when we learn how to utilize the energy, then we can get into some of the movements with a lot more ease. So we've done this a couple times now in the training and workshops, which is what I call training wheels. And we're just going to do some simple leg lifts here. But I want you to focus on these alignment principles and feel the difference today. It's a little different than how we have been working. But now that we're working with day 5 of the training, we can start to feel the difference as if we try to lift our feet and engage just through our core to lift our legs. It can be really challenging. So what I want you to try is to work with the pelvis and the pivot point at the hips. So when our hips drop, our legs can lift. And when our hips lift, our legs can drop. So do this a few rounds and just try to feel your tailbone moving up and down. And see how that feels for you. So hips drop, feet come up. Hips up, feet come down. Instead of lifting the legs, lift the hips. And the leg loops are helping us lift the weight. So drop your tailbone and let your legs come up. Even more, right? And then push your tailbone up, push your hips up, forward, and your legs come down. So this is how we can get a little bit further into what I call training wheels, into the pike or flip position. And I want you to do this nice and slow instead of just using your umph and your momentum. I am going to hold on with my hands, but a couple more times, lift your feet and drop your hips. So every time you drop your hips, your feet come up a little bit higher. So imagine what we're going to do is imagine the hips are like a wheel. And we're going to rotate the tailbone towards the sky by keeping our torso nice and straight and our legs in an L shape, like we're trying to sandwich our knees towards our forehead as we lean back. And we can do this with bent knees, but try it with straight legs at first. It doesn't matter how high you go. I want you to just feel the ergonomics and the alignment of it. So we're just kind of jumping into trying some flips, but utilizing it as an opportunity to feel the pivot point. Because once we know how to leverage our power using a power center of our hips, it becomes easy to do the flips. And you're just gonna have to trust me at first if this is new for you. Just give it a go. Okay, so again, utilize your hands just to hold on and give yourself some leverage, but focus on your pelvis, initiating the movement from there. And then as my hips go up, my head goes back to keep the alignment of the spine. So most people are moving with their head and trying to like whip their head in their upper body, but let it initiate from the lower body. And this is something that I just kind of learned and figured out. And we're going to go into the different positions and try that in different ways. And then if all goes well, we'll try some extra, more advanced poses today and just weave those in. So sitting in the center of the mat, you can kind of like, most people like will push back and then go for like a running jump and just kick their legs up. As soon as we flail like that, we've lost all power and we've lost alignment. So I'm just going to encourage you to go as slow as you can and feel it. It's like doing a plow pose on the ground. We're just rolling back. We're rolling back and lifting the legs. And you can see right now, I'm in a straight pencil line. And I want to stay in an L shape. So when I drop my hips and my legs go into an L shape, I'm going to keep that L shape as I keep rolling back. So like I'm just going to pull with my hands, drop my hips, and keep rolling back. And see if you can point the toes towards the sky at first. And the core stays nice and strong and engaged. But I am not going to just use my head to initiate the movement. I'm going to try that a few times and just see if I can keep rolling back until my tailbone rolls towards the sky. And then I can roll down with control as well. I'm going to give you just a moment. Take 60 seconds to do that a few times so you can start to feel it. And if you don't go all the way back, that's okay. But if you use a lot of force and a lot of momentum, you're going to flip all the way over, which is fine. I prefer that you just stay with a little bit more engagement and control. But if you flip all the way over, then you're just going to have to let go of your hands and then just come back and try again. You're completely locked in here. This is why I like to call it training wheels, because we have on our leg loops like a harness, and that's going to make sure that we don't fall out. But you know, make sure that if you are new, that you have some cushion down on the ground. We don't want anybody to flip onto their head, which you won't do with the leg loops on, but you know, stay anchored. Hold on with your hands at the top of the leg loops and try it a few more times and just start to feel the wheel of leading with your hips. When you drop your hips, your head comes up. When you lift your hips, the head comes back. And I'm keeping that nice sandwiched L shape in the body. So that's the training wheels. I like to start there so we can actually have a real live experience of what it's like to work with the pivot points, and like my whole upper body is just kind of going along for the ride. It's engaged, you know, but relaxed at the same time. So I'm not working super hard. I'm actually just working with the alignment. And that pivot point and working with the hips and pressing the hips forward and back is going to help you tremendously learn how to do some of the flips as we roll along here. So we can do the same thing in a forward fold, and we'll try that next. So if it doesn't really click or connect in this pose, then we're going to try it in a few other poses until we kind of get it. And once we get it in the body, it'll be easier to do some of the more advanced acrobatics. So one more time, lean back, lift, roll the tailbone towards the sky, and then as you're ready, roll the tailbone back down And just notice if you hold on and just engage through your arms, you can come back to sit. So that's such an exciting way to learn how to do the flips, is through the training wheels. If it didn't happen today, like I said, I promise you, just stick with it, keep practicing. It'll get easier with time, and then eventually you can come all the way up and over and then roll back down with control. Really good. Slide back into your chillaxing pose. Take a breath, drop your hips, and come back to sit. So now we're dropping our energy down. And I want to just show you the same idea of moving from the lower power center engaged through the entire torso and spine, keeping the head in alignment. Even if we're here and I reach for the top of the leg loops and I hold on, if I don't move my hips, if my hips are heavy and low and I try to pull myself up without having the engagement of all three centers, all three spheres working together, it makes it incredibly difficult for me to lift up. I'm trying to use all arms to lift myself up. So in order to get my body to rise, I actually want to lead with my pelvis. So to lift my pelvis, I push my legs down and push my tailbone up and forward. And then when I lift into my bicep curl, it makes it much easier. So let's try that a few more times. We're going to inhale, lift the pelvis, press the hips forward. My feet come back so my heart can come forward, but I'm not pushing my head forward. I'm actually keeping my head in line with my spine and my gaze up. So you'll notice as soon as I drop my head, I've pinched off the energy line like the kink in a hose, and then the water cannot flow through, or like a little pinch or kink in a straw where none of the energy can flow. So think of your spine as this really strong hollow tube that we want to keep aligned and in a straight line. As soon as we press the energy up, press the tailbone up and forward, the upper body can lift, and then I'm using even amounts of my arms and legs together. So we want to work the upper and lower body together. You can see in a lot of these poses, I'm making sure the entire body is engaged. And that way when we drop our hips, our energy comes down. When we lift our hips, our energy comes up. And so let's go ahead and try that same movement in our forward folds. I'm going to come on out. Or keep playing with this pivot point. Come to sit through sumo squat. And let's just give it a try in a different position and see if it makes sense. Walk out. You can take a moment to feel the difference in our body, what it feels like to move from our hips. Even when we're pushing our hips forward and walking forward, it's really different than if we're moving head first. I'm going to spray my mat and give it a little bit more stick. These mandala mats are microfiber with the rubber bottoms, and when they're wet, they get a little bit more grip. So it's better to have a little bit of grip on the mat when we're coming into the forward folds, and we can try that same pivot point and see how it feels. So when I come into a forward fold, my tailbone is going to roll back and then up. And then when I push my hips forward, my tailbone is going to roll down and forward. And so when I come into a forward fold, my head comes down. And then when I lift up, my tailbone comes down for my head to lift. So let's just see what that feels like in real time. I just wanted to describe it now that you can see me, because sometimes in a forward fold, we can't see each other. So the first thing I do when I come into the forward fold is I push my hips forward. So even here, even if the swing rides up, it's okay for a moment. I want you to feel when I come down, I keep my spine in a straight line. You can keep your hands here on your thighs if that's easier. And now my tailbone is pressing down. And then when I press my tailbone forward, that's how my upper body lifts into angel wings. So get the swing nice and low across the hip flexors, below the hip bones. And then just try it a few times. A lot of times people are trying to use their back or their head to lift, and it becomes very challenging to do so. Try initiating from your tailbone. Push your tailbone down towards your heels and push your hips forward, and then see how that lifts your upper body. Makes it so much easier. And then instead of just dropping your upper body, let the tailbone start to rise and roll towards the sky for the head to come down. So in every pose, when the hips come up, the head comes down, and when the hips come down and forward, then the upper body can rise. That's how we can come into poses like angel wings. Try that a few more times. Lower with control. So my hips are sinking back as my tailbone rolls up. My head comes down. And then when I push my hips forward, I'm really engaging, pushing my tailbone down towards my heels, and that lets my entire spine rise. Really good. One more time. Exhale, lower down with control. And then once we're here, rise up. Press, press, press. Press the hips. The hips have to press forward for the tailbone to have some room to come down. And that's how we activate the power centers, the energy centers, and open up the Kundalini energy. So now the tailbone is rising towards the sky. I can walk my feet to the back of the mat and just gently create a rhythm wave, those infinity loops from side to side. Initiate from the tailbone. Let your hips move, and then that creates like the weeping willow and the swagger through the heart and the head and neck. Let everything work together. Roll around for a couple rounds here. Roll around. I'm going to give lots of examples of how we can practice the same alignment principle in different poses. So that will be our intentionality for today, is working with the power centers, leveraging our power, learning the pivot points. See if you can make the wave a little bit bigger from side to side by letting the tailbone move. The tailbone is sending the wave of energy all the way up into the crown and back down again. Feel how different it is than just moving your head. Try just moving your head and not your tail, and how different it is. And then try moving just your heart and not your tail. It feels very different than moving your tail. Wagging your tail, I call it. And then let the whole body come along with that S shape. Beautiful. And it's the same when we come through the undulations, right? So when I arch, I come up, and then when I exhale, I'm rolling my tail in towards like a U shape or a rainbow. And then I lift my tail, and I'm initiating that arch all the way up the spine. And then I tuck my tail, and I roll back in. So just that different focal point of the energy initiating from the bottom of the spine and creating a whole wave of energy to pick up the crown so they stay in communication is really different. Okay, so try that for a few rounds, coming into our cat-cows, which we've done before, and just feel the rhythm wave, that infinity loop, up and down and side to side, rolling it all around. Very good. Walk the feet forward one more time. Press the hips, press the tailbone towards your heels, and lift. Very good. Awesome. Come on out. Give the hip flexors a little break and just feel the difference already. If you imagine walking in the world where your head, most people are moving head first, and from sitting, they're in like a C shape where their upper back is curled in, and so their head is leading the way, and it's almost like they're falling forward, which is really different than pushing the hips forward, pushing the tailbone down, and moving from the lower pelvis, as well as stacking the upper body to come along. So we're going to try that movement in a few different poses and see what it feels like, because we were doing some standing poses yesterday, which were really fun, and we can practice that again. But I want us to slow it down today and initiate a little bit more of the refinement of the skills of working with the energetic body so that it makes sense when we go into the flips, and it makes the flips so much easier. So now we're gonna sit in the swing as if we're at the playground, an actual swing. So we're gonna pull it down so we can sit in it. You can lower it if it feels a little bit more comfortable. And go ahead and hold on to whatever you wanna hold on to. We can let our feet float. We have the swing below our sit bones. And we're gonna try that same movement. And it depends on what movement we're in, how hard it is, right? If we hold on to the swing and we slide down to our knees and we try to pull ourselves up, it can be really challenging, right? How are we gonna lift without lifting our hips and our tailbone first, right? So we have to push into the back of the knees, push the hips up and forward, and then when we pull, it makes it easier. Let's try that a few more times. It'll make sense when we come to high flyers, why we are really refining and digging into this point. Try it by holding on to the top of the leg loops now. Drop down. Notice if my weight, my hips are low, it's very, very hard to lift my upper body because all of my center of gravity is pulling down. So we pull our center of gravity up first, pushing our legs down, lifting the hips, lifting the tail, and then at the same time engaging our arms for our bicep curl. So we do 100 bicep curls so that we're working upper body and lower body together. One more time, drop the hips, lift the hips, pull yourself up. Yeah, so we lift up and forward. And that's how we get the energy center all the way up, pulling the energy up. And just a little background for me of how I figured all of this out. It was very easy for me to do acrobatics when I was younger. And when I went to do some formal training, they asked me, how do I know how to do all these flips? And I said, I don't know, I just can do them. Like a lot of kids just know, they're the intelligence of the body, they know how to flip. And kids love the swing. And then when I broke it down and kind of reverse engineered what was I doing in the body, I was actually telling my body to lift up. And when I did, the entire spine was working together, and I was initiating from the hip flexors instead of from my head or from my, if I bend at the torso, then I've completely lost the alignment of the spine. It puts a kink in the hose or kink in the straw at both the neck and the stomach. So we want to learn how to bend from our hip flexors. That's why we do all those lifting here, where I lift my legs and bend at my hip flexors and drop my hips. So we're going to do our core exercises next, yay, and feel that. And once we get the core activated, that's why we do our leg lifts, bending at the hip flexors, and that's why we did so much work on opening up the hip flexors and quads with all of the lunges. So this part of the body that normally gets very tight and very stuck, it has an opportunity to open and to move, so the pelvis can move, that power center can move. Because you can see if your hips are super tight, you're not going to be able to get that leverage to push forward and up, because the hips are a wheel, it's a sphere. And we're not just pushing forward, we're actually tucking our tail under and then rolling the pelvis up. But if the hip flexors are tight, it won't actually roll. It'll get stuck in that movement. So it's the same with the shoulders. We want to make sure that the shoulders are wheels and we're not just jamming them back and down, that we're rolling them back. And that allows the chest to lift. And then all of the postures where we're opening up the shoulders here are helping us with that alignment. So just keep that in mind. When we're doing the core strengthening, we're not only activating the vertebrae and the space in the spine, we're learning how to lift and engage, bending at the hip flexors and utilizing our core, not just bending at the waist, but bending at the hips. And the same with being able to lift the leg. Here, we are using our core, but we're also utilizing the power of our portal at the tailbone. So we're pushing the tailbone down to lift the leg up and working with that center. So both legs lift and bend at the hip flexors. We're gonna do this upside down, and if for any reason doing the inversions today is not for you, I want you to just stay here and feel the same bend at the hip flexor, so you're not curling in with your head. You're staying perfectly aligned and keeping your gaze up and lifting just at the hip flexors, isolating this pivot point. And for those that want to do the inversions with me and want to give it a try, we're going to go into what I call the Incredible Hulk sit-ups. I do all of my strengthening upside down. I mentioned that before. So this is the advanced practice. If you're still wanting to just do some basics and beginner, it's okay to stay in an upright position. For those that want to get into an inversion, I promised we would do some inversions on this training. So you're going to get the swing nice and low across the hips. I'm going to do it backwards so you can see me. I'm going to lean back. I'm going to lift, so for my head to come down, my hips come up, and then I'm going to get my feet hooked in front. So even here, I want you to try it. Sometimes doing it the wrong way, or the quote-unquote wrong way, the hard way, is good to know. So that way when we do it correctly, we can feel the difference. So if I don't move my pelvis and my tailbone, and I try to lift my upper body just by using my head, you can see I don't have any room or space, and I'm having to bend at my stomach, at my navel, and then I can't come up. That's as far as I can go. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. That's it. That's as far as I go. So what we want to do is hold on to the leg loops with our hands. Bring our legs wide so we have a little bit more space. I'm going to do a bicep curl and lift, but I'm going to bend at my hip flexors now. And when I bend at my hip flexors, I'm going to drop my pelvis to lift my upper body. So now my tailbone goes from pointing up to the sky to pointing to the back of the mat. Okay, so I'm letting the entire movement initiate from my tailbone. My hips drop, I keep my head in line with my spine, and I use my arms just as guidance to stay balanced. So try that from a whole new vantage point. The entire torso is staying in a straight line. So I'm utilizing my core, but I'm not bending at my neck or my navel. I'm keeping it in a straight line and tilting my pelvis down. And then you'll notice it's completely different, and really I think it's a lot easier once you get it. So try doing the wide straddle sit-ups from the inverted position. Couple more. You're still going to get nice and strong through your belly, through your core, but you're using your entire body to lift up. Very good. So stay here in the wide straddle if that's enough for you today, or you can go ahead and hook your feet and straighten your legs all the way up and see if you can bend at your hip flexors. Same thing, even here, you're going to initiate from your tailbone, push your tailbone back and down, and then lift up to a tabletop into an L shape, and then lower again. So these are a little bit harder. So bend at the hip flexors, pushing tailbone back and down, and see how that lifts your entire spine. Very good. So using your arms to assist, you can do it a little bit faster, and make sure that the tailbone is what's lifting your entire torso. Tailbone down, lift. Very good. And then if you want to try the Incredible Hulk versions, you don't have to actually use the leg loops in your hands. You can actually touch your toes. Same thing, keep your body in an L shape, push your tailbone down, lift and touch. Lift and touch. after the last one, we're gonna lift, touch our toes, hold on, and now we go for part 2 of high flyers. We're going to push our tailbone down to the earth, and at the same time, we're going to lift towards the sky. And this is how we come up, okay? So it looks like this. Press the legs down, push your tailbone down, and then you can lift up. I'm gonna turn around so you can see me a little bit better. So one more time, push the tailbone down, and then the upper body lifts. I keep my entire spine in a straight line. I will turn around so you can see me. You can stay where you are, or you can turn around with me if you want. Come out nice and slow and controlled. This is a lot, by the way. Like I said, it's good to know, why are we learning these pivot points? Because some people get excited. They get excited about the flips, and they want to do all the tricks. But I want you to do it with alignment and with leverage and with effortlessness, with ease. It's amazing. When you learn how to do it correctly, or you learn how to do it with the physics of the body and utilizing your energy instead of force, life becomes a lot easier. Life becomes more fun. So let's try that one more time. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you if you wanna watch, or you can jump right in with me. So to come into the inversion, I push the swing down across my hips. I lean back, I'm gonna wrap my legs around, straighten them up, big sit up. So leading from my tailbone, lift, and then keeping my legs engaged, I push my legs down to push my hips forward, and then I can come up. I'm gonna lean back again so you can kind of see that. I do not yank my head or neck forward. I push my pelvis down and forward. So leading from the hips. And once you get this, it makes everything easier to do the flips. Pressing down, bicep curl, lift up. Okay, now the same movement we did before, I'm going to utilize the hand holds to do the pike, just like we did in the training wheels. So you can come back and do that if you wish. I'm going to squeeze my legs together, lean back, and lift my tailbone towards the sky. And when I do, my head points down towards the ground. So legs together, lean back, and then I can roll over. Push my hips forward, and then I can come up. Okay, lean back, drop the hips. As I drop my hips, my feet come up, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a roll to get my tailbone towards the sky. Push my hips forward, and all the way up I go. All right, come on back down. You can sink down, reverse it, lower with control, and then bring the legs wide and around. That was what we do in the advanced training, just to give you a little taste. There's so many more sequences. Like I said, there's over 300 poses and sequences that we learn in the practice, both aerial yoga play and the AYRx Therapeutix. But today we're really focusing on feeling the alignment, feeling with awareness. Where are we initiating the movement, and how to get the whole body to work together so some of these poses can be a lot easier to access. Now we're going to do the same thing like we did with the forward folds, learning how to come into Superfly today. But just take a moment to feel the body, feel what just happened. Just notice, what was that like for you? Did you get it? Did it feel easier? Do you need to practice it 100 more times? If so, that's okay. You'll just get used to leveraging the energy and keeping everything stacked. And until then, practice the little bite-sized pieces, because the same thing we do in training wheels is the same thing we do in the high flyers. It's a lot on the legs. Say we are wringing and squeezing out the legs, and some people, it takes some time to get used to that feeling. So don't worry about it if the high flyers aren't happening today. Like I said, this is just in this blended training that I put together. We're really only doing the basic poses and sequences. I just wanted to give you a little extra today so you felt inspired to come back and try more of the intermediate and advanced practices, and know that there's always more. What can we do? How can we learn how to utilize our energy and to get into some of the acrobatics if you've ever wanted to learn flips and tricks. So let's go ahead and come back into the push-up position. We're standing at the center of the mat and we're learning how to keep our spine in a straight line so that we can utilize our hips. So I'm pushing my hips forward and then I'm letting them sink back. So even though I'm using my arms, the swing is holding my weight, and then I'm allowing myself to just come forward and back with a little bit more ease. So the whole body is working together, and we don't want to turn into a slinky. We want to stay in a plank pose and keep our gaze up. As soon as we drop our head, we've pinched off the energy flow, and then there isn't going to be any power in the spine. So keep the core engaged, keep the head engaged, and just make some of these transitions in the sequences easy. So you can utilize the swing to support the weight. You can also come out and try the version we did where we step forward and we do our push-ups with a lunge. And notice that it's different than all of the weight coming forward when we are on the ground. We keep the lift in the chest and our gaze up. And then if it feels good to operate and activate the core, you can lift the leg. That makes it a little harder. And then we can come back to center. Let's switch sides. We're stacking. So we've been working with stacking our bones, with making sure the hands are tracking directly, pointing out and leaning forward on a diagonal. So our hands will stay shoulder distance the entire time that we're doing this. And lift the leg if that feels good. Yeah, so we can do this nice and easy and nice and slow, or we can get into some of the more dynamic movements. If you want to try standing in the center of the mat and pushing the hips forward and back on the diagonal, then we can still do our push-up position, but it's still easier than doing it on the floor. So enjoy getting the whole spine involved in some of the strength and the stretch. Very good. So when we come into Superfly, we're going to wind up being in this position. And when we're in this position, we have to hold all of our weight with our arms. So I'm not dropping my head. As soon as I drop my head, I lose the connection between my hips and my heart. So we're just making sure that we keep everything in a nice long straight line, and we're stacking. If the arms go too wide, we don't have as much support, as much alignment. And so we pull all of the energy towards the center line to make sure we come into Superfly correctly. If you don't know what Superfly looks like, I've been hinting towards it because it is one of the favorites in the flying poses. I'm going to demonstrate it, and then we're going to do the little bite-sized pieces and break it down for you again. So I am just going to come directly into the inversion again. Sometimes we'll use the leg loops and we'll go back and try it that way. But I can just push the swing down across my hips, lean back. So as I lean back, I let my tailbone roll up towards the sky, and therefore when I lean back, my head can come down. So even in this pose, I'm not leading with my head. I'm not trying to fling my head back or fling my upper body back. I'm actually letting my pelvis lead the way. I lift my hips towards the sky, and my head naturally will sink back and stay in a straight line. That pillar, even upside down, is leading the way. I'm going to hold on to my leg loops, push my feet into the swing. So now I'm going to arch and turn it over, pressing my hips down towards the earth to lift up. And then I keep pushing my pelvis down. My hair is all over the place. And then I can come into the full superfly. So I really need to push my pelvis down in order to come into a straight line. Really strong arms. So as soon as I collapse my upper body, my feet come up and I don't have any strength to lift. So the way I lift is pushing my tailbone towards my heels, towards the earth, and pushing my hips down, and then I can lift my upper body. So we're going to try that a few times, warming up so we can come into the full superfly. It'll all make sense. We're going to bring all those pieces together. So the first one in the forward fold, where we push the tailbone down, and the same thing with the arm extension. Let's use the swing in front of us. I hope that you guys are excited about this. Some people are like, oh, I'm never gonna do that, so you can just stay here, and other people are like, let me at it, I can't wait to get into Superfly. So it's just one of those fun poses. Some people are always like, what is the craziest pose you can do? And I always come and sit in a sumo squat, and I'm like, this is the craziest pose that I do. And they're like, no, come on, show us something. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll show you Superfly. And then everybody loves it and wants to try it. But really, this is the best pose. This is the pose that I do the most. Sumo's my favorite. It really is. I love getting into the swing and just rocking and rolling around. And for me, the swing is less of a party trick and more of a very yummy therapeutic and somatic practice. But just in case, you know, if you need a party trick, then learn how to do Superfly. It is quite entertaining. So let's break it down. Let's go through the different components and utilize the swing at our hip flexors again, and then grab for the leg loops and marry those two movements. Pushing the swing down, straighten the arms. It's going to hit the front of the legs. And remember, we're going to keep the hips pressing forward. To come down, I lift my tailbone and I let my body stay in a straight line. I'm really not using my muscles of my back. I'm using the energy of a tailbone pushing down, and that helps me lift up. Reach back and grab for the leg loops in your hands. And so first you can just come into this position where it looks like Superfly, but our feet are on the ground. So if we go into Superfly again and it's not for you today, just enjoy being here, and you can keep your gaze lifted. Go ahead and press your hands down towards the ground. Press your tailbone down and your hips forward, and you'll feel that alignment. You'll feel what I'm talking about with the engagement. So I don't like to show you how to do it the wrong way because it does hurt my neck and shoulders. But if my head is dropped, right, and I try to lift, I have no power, I have no leverage here to lift up. If my upper body is completely heavy and my tailbone is completely disconnected now, and I'm not moving my pelvis, I can't lift my upper body. So from this position, lift your upper body first, push your tailbone, and then you can see that you can extend your arms much easier. And we always keep our ears above our biceps so we don't drop. So see what it's like to push your arms down and push your tailbone forward at the same time. So just notice, if your hips are back, your upper body is going to drop. If your hips press forward, your upper body can lift. So we have to learn how to do this movement while we're in the air, right? So even if our feet are in the air, we can push our tailbone down towards our heels and push our hips into the swing to lift up. So that's like a really good warm-up practice in order to get the right alignment. And remember, if your arms go too wide, you won't have any strength, so you have to stack your hands in alignment with your shoulder. And of course, your arms have to be straight here in order to get the full length. Now we can do this in a push-up position and practice until we get all of the strength to fully extend, because this movement here is the same. So I am pushing my hands down to lift my upper body, and at the same time I'm also utilizing my hips and my tailbone to initiate the movement. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that blended in with the leg loops. So we're moving through some of the advanced sequences. Just a reminder, come back and just do those tiny little presses and lifts and start to feel it with the swing supporting at your hips, or go ahead and try, this is the elbow hang from the Peaceful Warrior, if you're curious about what the names of the poses is. So let's go ahead and push the swing down one more time, wrap the legs around. I'm gonna hold on to the leg loops in my hands so they're easier to grab. Get the feet around, and then what I'm going to do is I can either press my feet in, or I can just put the leg loops on my elbows here. So once I get the leg loops on my elbows, then I can arch. Once I arch, I can press my feet in and practice pulling up. So that's the little movement that I do to come into a big back bend. Now, if I don't press my feet in, it's hard to arch. So I need a little bit more leverage, like pressing my feet into the ground. But it is not happening, the arch is not happening from my upper body, it's happening from my hips. My hips pressing forward, and I'm pressing my tailbone down strongly, is allowing me to come up. I'm gonna slide into my backpack. And then from here, this might be as far as I'm going today in my skydiver instead of the full Superfly. And that's okay too. So you can practice that movement and break it down into a few pieces. From here, I can come into the elbow hang and then try lifting. Very good. So then from there, I get the movement down, and then I can hold on with my hands instead of with my elbows, and I can flip around to come into the push-up position. Once I'm in the push-up position, I have to remember to push my tailbone down and my hips forward to lift my upper body. So then I'm not really efforting or straining or muscling. You can muscle your way through these things, but honestly, it's not as fun as learning the physics of the body and the pivot points. So when I'm here, see how my head is pointing down and my feet are pointing up? I have to change my lever, push my hips forward, my tailbone down, my feet come down, and then my head comes up. If you try to push your feet down without engaging your hips, your upper body is not going to act as a lever. It has to be all in one flat line, like a seesaw. And then once I'm here, I can reverse it, come through, have a seat, feel what just happened in the body, and have a reset. Whew. So all of the flips and inversions are really, really strong. You're getting a big squeeze. You know, we're wringing out the waist along the hip creases. So after the big squeeze, we just let the body breathe again. We let it reset. Now we're bringing the energy back down. So once we bring the energy back down, dropping our hips, then you can see the energy starts to cool too. So it relaxes the body. When we push the energy up and change the center of gravity, then the energy level comes up. So we can actually boost the energy in the body by bringing the energy up, or we can just drop the energy back down and cool down again. So that's why we always take frequent breaks in between some of the advanced poses, so we can just get a sense of a reset and feel what happened there. So let's go ahead and incorporate our leg loops into this and try it with a few different variations. So I showed yesterday, if anybody is having trouble getting the leg loops on because the hips are tight or there's some sort of injury, you can actually spread the swing out and hop in. It's a nice way of doing a restorative version, and it's also a nice way to take a sacred pause and a little break if you ever need a rest. You can come back, hang out here, give yourself a minute or two to reset, and then join us. We're going to be active for about another 15 minutes, and then we're going to have a nice long shavasana today. When we have 2-hour workshops, I like giving a 20-30 minute meditation and shavasana at the end. So after all of this great energy building activity, activations, then we can bring it back in and harness all of that goodness and receive the benefit of our poses and practice. So stick with me, 15 more minutes of active, and then we're going to drop into an extended shavasana, which is so yummy. So from here, if you need to get a little help to get the leg loops on, this has been a pro tip for some of my people that are having trouble with either a hip injury or just flexibility. Sit in the swing to get the leg loops on, and it makes it a lot easier. So we're gonna have the leg loops at the ankles, and let me just show you, since we are doing all levels, if this is where you want to hang out for now, you can just windshield wiper the legs back and forth. You can bend the knee, you can roll around. It's okay to do more of a relaxation or restorative. This spreads out, everything spreads out. The swings are super comfy and super yummy. If you don't have a swing yet, I highly recommend that you take advantage of this special. I'm doing the swing combination with this training for more than half price. So it's going to be $300 off the swing, and the training is half price. So you're getting both for an incredible deal. I'm just running that special through the training one more day, and then it's going back to regular price. So really do hop on board and take advantage of the extra super duper special deal going on. And if you already have a swing and you want to recommend it to a friend, this would be a great time for them to get both the training and the swing together. So yeah, once you have the AYRx yoga swings and you realize how awesome they're so deluxe and comfy and made with these superior materials, it's hard to go back to some of the parachute, nylon, or polyester. These are cotton lycra blend, and they just feel like your favorite sweatshirt hugging you, and just so delicious and good on the skin. It has such a great stretch to it, as well as durability. So yeah, give them a try. But if you're practicing with me, you probably already have one, but just in case, just letting you know, we have that extra special going on. You can find out through my website, jenhealy.org, or I'll put some links in the descriptions for the replays. You get unlimited replays, so please do review and practice together. It's so good to do every day. If you do the swing every day, even just 5 minutes, it'll be life-changing. In 30 days, it'll feel like a complete transformation. So spring is a great time to get back in the body and start increasing our activity. I will show you how you can transition from here. If you're sitting in the swing and you got both leg loops on and now you're like, okay, what do I do? You can actually reach for the front edge of the swing. Let me see if I can get the leg loops out of the way so you can see me. You can give yourself a little bit of a lift. So you're trying to bring your legs wide and get the part that's underneath your bum. You're getting that to roll up to underneath your arms. So I just give it a little lift, a little hop, and it can gather behind the back. Okay, if you want to keep the leg loops spread out, that's fine, but you can also try this series bunched up at the ankles. Now, if you're sitting in the swing and you try to do the inversion, you may be able to pull it off, or it might be a little challenging. So just do the best you can. Play around with it, modify as you need. You can just lean back. You don't have to come into the full inversion. but it is okay to do the variations just depending on your level. Just want to give everybody that full permission to be exactly where you are and build up to the advanced sequences because they are advanced. So we learned the vinyasa flow previously, and now we're adding on the inversions to learn how to utilize the pivot points. So we lean back and let it gather to the waist like we did when we were standing. I like to give it a little hop or a little wiggle so it's comfortable across my hips. And then I'm going to keep leaning back. I let my tailbone start to rise towards the sky. I have to bring my legs wide and around for my tailbone to come up. Now, when my tailbone points up, my head points down. Keep holding on to the swing and start to drop your hips. As you drop your hips, the head comes up. So that way when we come in and out of the flips, we're really just working with those pivot points, and it becomes super easy. If we try to lift with our head without dropping our hips, it's very hard. It doesn't happen. So just think of like that straw or that hose. We don't want to kink at the neck or the belly, at the waist. We want to work with the hip flexors, bending at the hip flexors, and keep the entire torso in a straight line. So we're going to try that again. We lean back. As soon as we lift our hips, our head comes down. As soon as we drop our hips, our head comes up. And you can do this with the leg loops at the knees too. The further away from the center line, the harder it is. The closer to the torso, the easier it is. So we can try this again, pulling ourselves up to stand. Now that we have figured it out, most people go like this and they're leading with their head and leaving their pelvis drop back. We want to lead with our pelvis, so we're going to lift our tailbone, push our hips forward, and then pull ourselves up. So if you want to try the inversion with the leg loops all the way up, it gives a little bit more support to activate that pivot point where we're going to push the swing down across the hips, lean back, lift our hips up, head comes down, drop the hips, head comes up. So we're going to have to stay engaged through the entire torso so we don't turn into a slinky. We want to keep our head, heart, and hips in alignment and in communicating. So the legs go wide and around. Hips come up, head comes down. Hips come down, head comes up. Bending at the hip flexors. So we keep our legs in an L shape, okay? All the way around. Very good. And one more time. Drop the hips, come on up. Very good. It's so fun to do the flips. Once we learn the pivot points, it truly becomes effortless. And once we learn how to leverage our power, we can actually imagine moving like that in the world. It's not like we carry water in buckets anymore, but I loved this visual that came through that I used in the training earlier today. You know, we've all been engaging with the physics of the body and the physics of the world to understand leverage and pivot points in different ways. And we just haven't thought of it that way in terms of how we're moving our body. But in the ancient days, when people would carry water, buckets of water on a stick, I don't know if you've seen any pictures of this, but they would put a bucket of water on each end and then put the stick over their shoulder in the middle, like a seesaw, balancing the weight. And if you can imagine, if you put both buckets of water on one end of the stick and tried to carry it at the far end, those two buckets of water would be so heavy, we wouldn't be able to carry it. And we're doing that in life. We're not keeping it in balance. You know, the two scales between the left and right, the masculine and feminine, the dark and the light, we want to keep it all in balance. And I love the symbology of this, of like, do we have all of our weight dropping down? Do we have all of our weight in our neck and shoulders? So if we have all of our weight in our upper body, we're like an upside down pyramid that's going to topple over and we become too top heavy. And the same, if we have all of our weight in our lower body, then we're not going to be able to leverage our energy and power because it's having like 2 buckets of water just on one end of the stick and picking it up at the other end. So that's why we learn how to move from the apex of the heart and keep our upper and lower bodies both strong and both aligned and flexible. So even when we do the bicep curls, I'll show you one more time, I use my arms and my legs to lift. So I'm not just lifting with my arms and I'm not just lifting with my legs. And we want to keep both the upper and lower bodies working together. And then all of these poses become so much easier. So let's just take a break here, find our breath. I would love to do some more of the flips and spins with you, but instead of just working in the vertical plane of going up and down, we're going to go from side to side now. And we didn't do this in the training earlier, so I just think it's good to work with the different planes. So we were spinning on the vertical axes, right, coming up and down, but we can do all of the same spins side to side and finding our pillar when it's horizontal so it's not collapsed, and working with our legs. So there's a few different ways that we can do this, but I'm going to just show you, for me, what the easiest way is using just the main swing. And then of course there's a couple different variations that we can check out when you do the advanced training. I'm just going to give you a sample and then come back and do the intermediate and advanced training so you can learn all of the different ways that we use the swing. So I'm going to come on out, take the leg loops off, and if you like watching and just taking a pause, you can hang out here, you can hang out in your sumo, or you can even just hop back in. Once you're in high skydiver, to get into our cocoon, you can spread out the swing and hop in and just hang out here. That's okay too. Feel free to take a little pause or break, get a sip of water. I normally give you guys a break at the hour point, and I've just been kind of like rolling through it here. So it's okay to take care of yourself and take a little break whenever you need. And it's actually good to bring the energy back down and then try something new. I like to mix it up and do like half advanced and then half intermediate, and then a little bit of, you know, the basics, taking it to another level. So have a little sip of water, take a break whenever you need, and we're gonna hop back into the main swing. Let's just go ahead and practice for 5 more minutes, okay? This will be like the last part of the sequence. Let me check on the time here. Yeah, we're doing great. Really good. We have plenty of time. Okay, cool. So I'm going to sit at the swing like I have before. So that way, if anybody wants to just try the basics, they can do the basics, and then we'll add on from here. So we're going to learn how to spin on axes. And I love the spins and spirals in order to tap into the free energy. So I like to use my hand holds when I'm sitting in the swing for this one. You can utilize the top of the leg loops, but it's a little bit easier here to use the hand holds. And if you want, you can just stay here and just work with the fascia, dropping in. If you have your hand holds in a wrist wrap, it's a little bit easier. And then you can practice pushing the hips up, pulling yourself forward, leading with the tailbone, and then dropping the hips and trying that one. As soon as you start to move your power from the pelvis and operate from all 3 energy centers, it's going to be a lot easier to do pretty much all the poses. I'm just repeating in order to deepen that relationship, that it isn't about strength. It actually isn't even about muscle development. A lot of people are just strengthening their muscles, but not aligned with their energy, and then the body actually becomes weak. If your muscles are overdeveloped and you don't have alignment, then you actually strain the joints and you wind up being tired because it's too much weight on the body. The muscles are very heavy and they actually can put a lot of strain on the structure, on the bones. That was a big part of what was going on for me when I was younger. I was too strong and muscular, but I didn't have the right alignment or proper alignment, and it led to major lower back pain and knee problems, which I wish somebody would have taught me the alignment principles when I was younger. And that's a big part of why I dedicated my life to these practices, to integrating regenerative therapeutics with the healing arts and incorporating the fundamentals of physics and basically the engineering of the body so that we can leverage our power and do things with much more effort and ease without injuring ourselves. Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, it is possible to recover. I'm like a recovering over-exerciser, overachiever. But now I like to do it with ease and fun. And instead of using exercise as another form of torture, we can actually use it to increase our well-being and our optimal health. So just giving you a little helpful hint that once we start working from a place and moving from a place of alignment, life becomes so much easier and so much better. So just stay here if you want to, and you can just practice the pivot point of moving forward and back and feeling the difference. If you just try to, like I said, if you're here and you're just trying to lift yourself with just your arms without engaging and pushing your pelvis and tailbone, it is so challenging. You know, I can barely lift myself up then because all of my weight is sinking down and back. And so I have to change my center of gravity and push my energy up for my arms to lift me up. So the whole body has to work together. So now let's try some spins and have some fun with it. I'm going to just hold on with my right hand and I'm going to lean back. And as I lean back, I'm going to allow, again, my pelvis is leading the way. I'm going to lead with my right leg and see if I can just get my right leg over and around and then do a little spin. And I'm going to do this a few times, so don't worry about it if you miss that. And then if I want to spin back, I lift my leg, I push my pelvis around and forward. So not only am I, before we were just pushing our pelvis up and down, so now I'm pushing my pelvis and spinning it, right? And so spin from the tailbone, and notice if you initiate all your movements from your tailbone, how your whole torso and your whole upper body will follow along. Let's try that again on the other side. If you didn't catch it, it's really easy once you get it, but if you didn't get it the first time, just watch it a few times and it'll come along. So I'm going to lean back. I'm holding on with my left arm, so I'm going to lift my left leg. I'm going to bring it up through center, and I'm not leading with my leg. I'm still leading with my pelvis and my tailbone, and see if you can feel it. So after I lift my leg, I push my pelvis all the way towards the back and then spin my tailbone down towards the ground. And then my leg comes with me. And then when I want to lift, I move from my pelvis, I swing my leg around, and I push my pelvis forward. And see how that feels. Let's try it again on the other side. Okay, right hand, right leg. I'm going to lean back, spin, come all the way around. And then lift my leg, push my pelvis forward, and then I come forward. Now, if you do this without moving from the pelvis, it can be a little tricky. It was like I was showing you when we were doing our core. If I try to lift with my legs and not with without moving my pelvis, then my legs feel really heavy and I'm just trying to use my core, my stomach muscles. But when I'm moving from my entire spine working together, as I lean back, the momentum picks up my leg and then I can just spin around. And the same when I come back around, I just push my pelvis forward and I come back. So this is how we get into some of the horizontal axis spins. And the same thing, lift the leg, spin around. Beautiful. Long lines of energy. And then go ahead and lift the leg, push the pelvis forward, and come back again. See how that goes. We're going to try it one more time in a different position. Sometimes this really comes easy to people, and sometimes it takes a little bit to kind of figure out what we're doing in space. But I'll try one more variation here and see if it makes sense and if it's easier. We can do this from stand and just do this wrapping one leg around. So I'm kind of skipping steps just so I can give you a taste, and then we go into some more detail when we do the advanced training. So I'm going to wrap just the right leg around. I always wrap outside in and then hook the foot. So I'm going to wrap the right leg around, outside in, push my left foot down, and come to stand. You don't have to straighten the leg all the way, but the more that we get the long lines of energy in the body, it makes it easier to spin on axes. Okay. I'm going to reach around, grab for the hand hold, just for support. I'm going to pick up my standing leg, spin that through center, and then come to stand. Ta-da! All of that movement was just from my pelvis going like this, pushing my pelvis forward and then spinning on axis, and then it's completely effortless. And then we learn how to do this in the air, of course, right? We do it on the ground with one foot down, that way we can do it in the air next time. And come into Jedi kicks, which is like one of the coolest poses of all times. But you have to look it up. I'm not gonna do Jedi kicks today, this will be the last one. Okay, let's lean back. Let's try the left leg. We'll do one more on each side. So the first thing is we have to learn how to get the leg around. So you have to kind of lean back and give it a little hop to have the spaciousness. See if you can straighten out there. I'm going to hold on to my handhold with my left hand just for support. Lean forward and try and lead with the pelvis. My bottom foot is going to come up and around and through center to come to stand. Okay? You can always pause, rewind that, and be like, what? What happened? And the swing is going to get all twisted up, so you can give that a moment to regroup. And we can try that again. So first things first, we have to get our leg around. So see if you can lean back, give it a little hop, and then when you have the leg extended, come to stand. So I'm going to lean forward. That way I can find my horizontal axes, and I'm going to work with my pelvis spinning and the tailbone rotating in space. See if you can start to feel that. You can use the hand hold. This time I'm going to use the leg loop to get a little bit lower. And I just turn and spin from the end of my tailbone all the way up through my body. And then that creates the spin along the axes. Let's try the left side one more time with the different hand holds. And this is really fun once you get it. You can sit in the swing. I think the swing one is a little bit easier, but some people find it easier to stand. Let's try the other side. So I lean back, hook the left leg outside in, push the right foot into the ground, and then I'm going to start to spin on axes, on the horizontal axes. So see if you can isolate and feel the movement coming from the pelvis. I push the pelvis towards the floor, and then I'm going to keep rotating in that direction with that spiral. I pick up the bottom foot, and I spin through center. Ta-da! So much fun. Those are some of the favorites, is learning how to do the spins and the flips. And then obviously you could do those in the air, but you get the picture. Really good, a good practice today. I hope you enjoyed and had fun. I wasn't sure if I was gonna add in some of the advanced acrobatics, but I'm really glad I did. They're just so much fun, and I get so much energy and so much joy in sharing them. Remember, you can find out anything that you need from my YouTube channel. at Jen Healy or from the jenhealy.org website. It's all connected to aerialyogaplay.com and aerialyogarx.com. They're all going to lead you to the same thing. Same with suspendedsomatics.therapy.com. So many domains, all lead to jenhealy.org. So yeah, check it out, get a swing, check out the training. I hope to be offering these live virtual experiences once a month. I've just been enjoying it so much. Even though I prefer to practice in person, I'm happy to do online sessions as well. You can find me in Maui, MauiWellness.com, MauiWellnessRetreat.com, or I'm in Marin in the Bay Area once a month teaching some workshops and classes at Meta Yoga Marin. So please do come and find me. I'm gonna let you drop in now. Just doing all that so we don't have to do it at the end. Usually what I like to do is just let you stay in the Shavasana. I'm gonna lead you through some of my transmissions, which are the core activation meditation techniques that I do. It's gonna be incorporating everything we've been talking about throughout this weekend, the pillar of light, body of light, being of light, doing those holographic body enhancements and all the other fun fancy words that I like to play with. But if none of that resonates with you, I completely get it. Just drop in, completely let yourself relax. Just let the words wash over you. We're kind of reprogramming the subconscious patterns and balancing the brain waves and doing all this cool energetic stuff. And if you want to learn more about my meditations and transmissions, they're also available on my website and through YouTube. Please do check those out. I have hundreds of them for free. Plus I offer one-on-one kind of like oracle readings or source reconnection work. So there's lots of different levels and layers to my healing practice now that you get to check out. But I want to do an all-in-one. So that's the first time, like I said, the leading edge of me incorporating in more of the quantum healing that I do with the swing practice. So what we're going to do is start to relax and drop it in. I'm going to bring the lights down here a little bit just to let the mood be more quiet and calm. The swing is going to spread out, and you're going to let yourself hop into the center. We've earned it. That was a great practice. Thank you for sticking with it. Remember to get the replay. Just sign up for the workshops if you want to do the full training. That's available too for replay, but just the workshops are available by themselves. Make sure your head is supported. Make sure that your body is happy. Give it what it needs. See if it wants a little sip of water. See if it needs a little bio break before you're able to fully relax. Whatever you need, hop in. And so today, let's go ahead and curl up into a ball. If you need to extend your legs, get the leg loops on, but otherwise, spread the swing out and bend your knees. Let your feet come together into Baddha Konasana and feel like you are a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, earning your wings. And the first thing that happens is the caterpillar comes into this cocoon. This cocoon comes over and surrounds it. It's like backstage of a dressing room, you know, it's like getting its clothes changed or getting rearranged. If it feels better to have your legs straight, you can straighten them up the sides of the swing. And you can let your arms either hug over your chest or go ahead and let them dangle out the back. Just wherever you are, feel like you can let everything drop in. I like giving myself a big hug, wrapping my arms over my chest, and just being completely still now. After all of that twisting and turning and spinning and flipping, you get to rest. Be refreshed. Let this be a restoration to restore. The body knows what to do. The cells will regenerate and reset. We've freed up all of this energy, and now we have this river of life force moving through us. We have all the energy we need, and now it's flowing. It's no longer being pinched off. We opened up. We opened up the portals. We opened up the pathways. We wrung out all of the tension and congestion. The body is now light and fluffy and soft and supple and available to receive the healing energy, the abundance of life force that is all around us and moving through us. Recalibrating. So let the belly soften, the hips completely relax, the heart open, and the mind to be still. The eyes to sink back, looking inward towards the center of our skull. Feel how delicious it is to be held, to be cradled and rocked. To be suspended. Take a couple deep cleansing breaths. You're home, back in your body, in your being, in your breath. The breath is moving freely and fully. Let it feel good. To open to more grace and ease and flow. Effortless flow. Tapping into this energy source and life force that has been waiting for your openness. Opening up the pillar, the pathway, the spine, the river of life. And the nervous system is calm, clear, calm and energized all at the same time. And as we come to completion, we give thanks. Thankful for this body, thankful for this breath, thankful for this being. Thank you for this opportunity to play, to share, to experience the body in a new way. Thankful for this place, this space, this time, and one another. Feel the coherence that's happening between the head, the heart, and the womb, the pelvis. The body electric, back online, the balance between the left and right and up and down. Keeping the equanimity the perfect symmetry between the yin and yang, masculine and feminine, light and dark, calming and energizing. The full spectrum at the apex 0 point, staying centered and grounded inward. Dropping even more, sinking deeper and deeper into the warm hug as the swing holds you. See if there's any parts or pieces that need some extra love. Send a ball of healing energy in your imagination. Direct the energy with your visualization. Place this healing balm over the neck and shoulders, the lower back, the belly, the knees, wherever it wants to go. Feel like you can move the energy around gently and softly with your attention. And feel like you can spread it out over all the parts and pieces, every cell surrounded in a healing balm, a golden bubble. The trillions and trillions of cells that communicate and cooperate with one another in perfect harmony now, all evenly distributing the power and the resources. Working as one aligned, optimal functioning unit. And you have 10 more minutes, or truly as long as you want, to drop in and receive. Your body is open and ready to receive this healing, the upgrades, the rejuvenation it's been needing. Know that it's all being done for you, being given. The body is highly intelligent that way. It knows exactly what to do when there's no interference and the energy is freed up. We heal very quickly. We restore balance. Increase the energy flow with your breath. And then let the life force breathe you. The same energy that pulsates through the sun, that breathes the trees, that moves the oceans, the consciousness in motion. That is you, that's a part of you, that is everywhere. And with everyone simultaneously. Stay here for as long as you like, playing the game of how slow can you go. Bringing more awareness into the room, feeling yourself suspended in the sea of energy, a droplet of water in a huge ocean, every droplet in its own bubble, connected and at one with the ocean as well as individual. That is our body. That is the holographic reality. At one, in the same, and yet the self. Tap into that life force, live it, breathe it, be it. It is here supporting you and guiding you and loving you into wholeness, back home, to self, to source. It's available for everyone. Everyone has the same access to this energy, to the healing, to the quantum field when we open to receive. When we release and let go, we make more room and space for the new. Every moment, every breath, an opportunity to reset, to recharge, and regenerate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste.